It was a calm afternoon on December 8, 1942. The location, Fujian Province, China, near the Strait of Taiwan. A lookout scans the sky when he spots a lone dot on the horizon, approaching from occupied territory. Alarms sound, pilots scramble. But what they found in the air that day would challenge everything they understood about life, death, and the limits of human will. They encountered a plane with no response to their radio calls. A plane with American markings that hadn't been used in nearly a year. A plane riddled with bullet holes, missing a landing gear, and carrying a pilot who would not move. This is the story of the Ghost P-40, a story that begins not in the air, but in the jungles of the Philippines, where men who refused to surrender built the fighter out of wreckage and sent it on a mission it was never designed to complete. To understand the Ghost, we have to go back to May 1942, the island of Mindanao, Philippines. The Japanese war machine had swept through. American and Filipino forces were overwhelmed, outgunned, and ordered to surrender by their commanding general. But not everyone complied. A sergeant named Milton McMullen of the 701st Aviation Ordnance Squadron refused to lay down his arms. He and others melted into the forests, forming a resistance. They were surviving, sabotaging, hiding, and while hiding, they found two wrecked P-40 fighter planes. One had crash-landed in the forest, its wings intact, but its engine seized. The other was found by locals, and crucially, its engine could still turn. Here is where logic ends and legend begins. These men, starving, hunted, and alone, decided to do the impossible. They hauled 2.5 tons of twisted metal deeper into the jungle. For weeks, they worked. Mechanics, who had no business building an airplane in a rainforest, began tearing the two wrecks apart and stitching them back together into one single, working machine. Why build a fighter plane in the middle of a war zone? The answer is letters. The resistance had a plan. Evacuate a high-ranking Filipino general so he could tell the world they were still fighting. And with him, they would send the letters written by men in hiding messages to families who likely thought they were dead. But the P-40 had a range of only 730 miles. China was over 1,000 miles away, so they stripped the plane of everything non-essential: armor, wing, machine guns, instruments. They left the nose guns just in case. They built a makeshift fuel tank from scrap. And because the plane was missing its left landing gear, they constructed a bamboo and metal skid that would fall away after takeoff. They even carved a runway out of the jungle, hidden under the canopy until the very last moment, so the plane could accelerate to takeoff speed without being spotted. It was madness. It was beautiful. And by the end of the year, the engine roared to life in the heart of enemy territory. But then, the plane sacked. The general refused to leave his men. Day after day, week after week, the Ghost P-40 waited in its hidden hangar, a mechanical beast held in reserve. Milton McMullen and his men guarded it, maintained it, watched over it. They did not know if it would ever fly. Then came December 8, 1942, exactly 1 year after the attack on Pearl Harbor. 1 year of occupation, 1 year of hiding. Milton was asleep in his tent when a sound jolted him awake. The roar of an aircraft engine, their aircraft engine. He ran. He reached the clearing just in time to see their creation lift off, clawing for altitude, disappearing into the clouds. Somebody had had enough. Some pilot, whose name history did not record, decided that if the general wouldn't go, the letters would. He took off alone, bound for China, carrying the hopes of men who might never see home again. But the pilot did not find China. After traveling 1,090 miles beyond the plane's maximum range, he found land, occupied Taiwan. Realizing his mistake, understanding he was over enemy territory with no fuel to reach China, the pilot made a choice. He dove. He emptied his ammunition into whatever he could see on the ground: buildings, aircraft, installations, and then, out of bullets, he fled for China. The Japanese Zeros caught him over the strait. They riddled his plane with machine gun fire. They tore through the fuselage, through the wings, through him. He let out somewhere in the clouds, but the plane kept flying. The Ghost P-40, carrying a dead man, flew on, which brings us back to that afternoon over Fujian. Pilots Robert Lee Scott and Johnny Hampshire of the Flying Tigers scrambled to intercept a bogey. They found the P-40. They radioed, no response. They flew closer. The damage was horrific. The canopy was destroyed. The pilot was slumped over, unmoving. Chills ran down their spines. They were looking at a ghost, a dead aviator from a battle fought months ago, still flying his patrol. They watched as the plane finally ran out of fuel, slowed, and disappeared into the clouds, crashing into the rice fields below. The next day, they visited the wreckage. They found the pilot, long dead, with no identification. But in his jacket were letters intact, legible, addressed to families, and in the cockpit, a diary. The letters were mailed. The diary was lost in military archives for decades. The mystery might have died there. But years later, at a veterans reunion, a writer named Kurt Norris told this story. An old man stood up and said, "I helped build that airplane, Milton McMullen." He told them everything. That jungle workshop, that 2 wrecks, the letters, the takeoff he witnessed but never understood. Milton was captured weeks after the flight and endured brutal treatment in a POW camp. Most of his comrades did not survive, but Milton lived to be 93, dying in Mississippi in 2014. The only man who could claim he helped build the Ghost. The final mission of that P-40 was, in a strange way, a success. The families received their letters. Men who were presumed dead spoke one last time from beyond the grave, carried by a ghost pilot in a ghost plane. In war, we talk about victories and defeats. But sometimes, the stories that matter most are the ones that defy categories. A plane built from scrap, a pilot who chose to fight, letters that would not sink into the ocean. The Ghost P-40 reminds us that hope, once written down, finds a way home. This has been a deep dive. If you want to support stories like this and the channel, check out the link in the description. And remember, sometimes the best stories are the ones that haunt us. We'll see you in the next one.